Well, it looks like the role of Franklin Richards in the MCU is becoming a little bit more clear, and as it turns out, it looks like he's going to have a really big role, and possibly a huge role leading us into the next saga. But today we've learned some more details about him and his relationship with Galactus in the Fantastic Four film. What we've heard in the past is that Galactus is going to Earth for a very personal reason, to visit the Fantastic Four, and he has a demand from them. The recent rumor said the demand was for Franklin Richards, and a new rumor tells us why Galactus might want him. So big news for the Fantastic Four today, but this also ties into the overall arc of the multiverse saga. And I'm actually wondering if this might lead to, in some way, shape, or form, Franklin and Galactus kind of being not necessarily one being, but one in the same. Because in the comics in Secret Wars, Franklin, whenever you see him, he's usually with Galactus. And in fact, when Galactus goes up to fight against a giant version of the Thing, Franklin is on his side. He's fighting with Galactus. The two of them go hand in hand in Secret Wars for the most part. And since Galactus wants Franklin Richards in the Fantastic Four film, I'm thinking maybe they might lead up to that in some way, shape, or form. That would certainly be really cool. Now, for those who might not be aware, Franklin Richards is the son of Reed Richards, aka Mr. Fantastic, and his wife and fellow Fantastic Four member, Sue Storm, aka the Invisible Woman. And although it is not 100% confirmed that he's going to be in the movie, we have seen some leaked set photos of Vanessa Kirby holding a baby on set, which is most likely her and her son, Franklin Richards. And there is reportedly going to be sort of a time jump forward, only a handful of years, nothing crazy like 10, 15, 20 years. But many different insiders have also confirmed Franklin is going to be in the movie, that he's going to be a relatively big, important part of the movie. The question now is, how? Well, it looks like we might know. We've heard from a couple of different industry insiders on this. One is My Time to Shine Hello, who just stated that Franklin Richards will have the ability to traverse the multiverse in First Steps and Avengers Doomsday. Plus, not to mention, a month ago, Alex Perez from the Cosmic Circus posted Franklin MacGuffin Richards with a photo as well. Now, if you're not sure what a MacGuffin is an object or device in a movie or a book or any type of story that serves merely as a trigger for the plot. So Alex's quote makes it sound like they're going to center around Franklin and what he can do in the Fantastic Four and Avengers Doomsday, and possibly and probably Secret Wars and the gap between Secret Wars and the new saga, but we'll get to that in just a bit. We've heard from multiple different sources that Galactus is going to be coming for Franklin in the Fantastic Four. Given that Franklin Richards is one of the strongest characters ever created by Marvel, it makes sense that Galactus would want to come for him, because one of his power sets is that he can create universes, which is absolutely crazy. But if you're somebody like Galactus who needs to feed, that is probably a pretty appealing gift. Imagine if Franklin became a herald for Galactus and was given the power cosmic to create universes specifically for Galactus to feed on. Now, I think this might be a little bit overpowered for the MCU, and if this rumor is true, they're going to kind of switch up his power set, or at least maybe not give him the ability to create universes yet, although in the comics he can do it when he's just a child. But it looks like, for the sake of the Fantastic Four and the Multiverse Saga, his power set might be being able to jump between different universes, or as it's been stated, traverse the multiverse. This could also be very appealing to Galactus, because the Fantastic Four First Steps film takes place in a separate universe. It does not take place in our main 616 universe. It takes place in another universe, basically in a futuristic 1960s. From what we've heard, the reason that this particular universe is so advanced is because they never had the Dark Ages to set them back. It's kind of unclear at this moment whether or not the actual Fantastic Four team is from that universe, or if they actually started in the 616 universe and had an accident that sent them to that universe, and perhaps that's how they got their powers. That's a rumor, that's not confirmed. We'll have to wait and see on that. But there is a possibility that the universe that they're in is kind of void of a lot of different planets for Galactus to go to. Or perhaps he's already had his fair share of planets and maybe is running out. There was a plot leak that came out not too long ago that said Galactus does find out about the Fantastic Four's ability to travel between universes. At the time, it did not specifically mention Franklin Richards, but it would make sense if he had that ability given his abilities in the comics. But according to that plot leak, Galactus finds out about this, sends the Silver Surfer over, she goes into a different universe, rumored to be the 616 universe, comes back and tells Galactus all about it. That makes him want to essentially go there because he needs energy and he needs to devour. That's what Galactus does. Might I add, that would be a really good way to bring the Fantastic Four into the 616 universe, with possibly bringing over Galactus as well, even though we should have our own Galactus for that universe. But that is reportedly why Galactus is going after Franklin in the Fantastic Four film. Now, we have to talk about Franklin's role in Avengers Doomsday and Secret Wars. We'll get to that, but first I'd like to talk to you about Straight Arrow News, my partners and sponsors for today's video. Staying up to date with all the important events and pieces of news going on in the world is overwhelming. And with good reason, especially right now in time of media bias and mistrust. It's tough to know what the truth is. That's why I've been using Straight Arrow News to find out what is really going on. Straight Arrow News is an app and website that's an unbiased news source that specializes in reliable, fact-based news. Not only are they unbiased, but they also have a media miss tool that will tell you how much each side is covering certain events. It'll tell you if the left isn't covering something the right is covering, or if the right isn't covering something the left is. And it'll also tell you if both sides are covering an event the same. This allows everyone to get the full picture of what is going on, rather than having to trust a biased news source. I use Straight Arrow News throughout the election to truly know what is going on, and it's been eye-opening to see how much bias is in the media. So I'm grateful for Straight Arrow News, and you can go to san.com/cosmic to check it out, or click the link in my description. When you visit, you're not only supporting the channel, but you're also supporting a group of journalists that are raising the bar on news and focusing on serving you the truth. Now, when it comes to Franklin in Avengers Doomsday and Avengers Secret Wars, obviously in the multiverse saga, with the multiverse potentially being destroyed, which we're like 99% sure that's what's going to happen, especially with all the incursion talk that we've heard. Well, if there is going to be some contact between other universes about the destruction of the multiverse, that might happen via Franklin Richards. Now, in the comics, we have the Council of Reeds, Reed-Richard variants who get together to form, you guessed it, a council, an interdimensional council. And our main Reed Richards builds a multiversal travel device, a portal. And while I do hope, and I do think we're going to see some version of the Council of Reeds, I think perhaps instead of creating a multiverse travel machine, they might simply use Franklin's powers. This will allow Reed Richards and some other superheroes who are going to be a part of the team to go to other universes and basically talk to them about incursions and the destruction of the multiverse to figure out what to do to stop it. Because the destruction of the multiverse is a multiversal problem, not just our Earth's problem, but a big problem for everybody. So it would make sense for them to consult with other universes. Now, also something that happens in the comics is when two Earths are about to collide via incursions, it's established that the only way to save one is to destroy the other. In fact, in Secret Wars in the 2015 version, as the two universes collide, they are indeed attacking each other. It's a pretty cool battle, but ultimately both universes end up getting destroyed, the Earths collide. And the multiverse gets destroyed, which leads us to what I believe Secret Wars is going to be. The whole entire multiverse destroyed, with some main survivors, one of which I believe is going to be Franklin Richards, and most likely his family, Reed Richards, Sue Storm, and possibly his sister Valeria Richards if they throw her in there as well, which they totally should, so we can get the Future Foundation. But when it comes to the multiverse being destroyed, at the end of it all in Secret Wars 2015, Franklin Richards is essentially how they kind of restore the multiverse because of his ability to create universes. So him and his father in the Future Foundation, and I'm assuming possibly Molecule Man, who was responsible for giving Reed Richards the powers of the Beyonders in the Secret Wars comic, they all come together to restore the multiverse. And I like the idea of this kind of starting to come to fruition in the Fantastic Four first steps. Like them starting to make the idea of Franklin Richards being able to multiverse travel and then possibly create universes himself a big deal in the Fantastic Four is a really good way to kind of set everything up for the end, which we believe is ultimately going to be a soft reboot of the MCU. So essentially, Franklin Richards is going to give Marvel Studios the ability to do that, which is why Alex Perez from the Cosmic Circus might have called him Franklin MacGuffin Richards. I believe he might not have been specifically talking about the Fantastic Four, but the multiverse saga overall. Because to me, this storyline just simply makes sense. But go ahead, let me know your thoughts about this in the comments down below. Do you think this would be cool to see on screen or not? Please don't forget to like this video and subscribe so you don't miss out on any of the latest MCU news, rumors, or leaks. You can find us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Instagram, Twitter, or Facebook. And as always, thank you all so much for watching. Woof woof.